Hello and welcome, my name's Liam O'Sullivan and thanks for taking the time to check out my website. Now if you've come this far, the chances are that either you or somebody you care about is struggling with an aspect of their life, with a behaviour that's not very helpful, or with a self-limiting belief that's holding them back and you're looking for a solution. Hopefully you've come to the right place. Now our brains often run patterns that are not very helpful to us, strategies that aren't helpful and deliver us where we don't want to be. My job is to kind of help people identify those patterns and change them. Often the people I see are really very capable people, successful people, rational people, but there's just maybe one area of their life where that rationality just flies out the window. For example, they could be really capable at their job, really good at their job, well got, and then they're asked to deliver a presentation and they just go to pieces. It doesn't really matter what the issue is. If there's an aspect of your life where you're just not in control, it can be a deeply, deeply frustrating experience. So for some people this could be confidence, as I say, public speaking, performance anxiety, weight loss. Or the other big one with weight is people who won't eat at all, eating disorders. Maybe you're just stressed out. Maybe it's anger management, feeling overwhelmed, with feelings of regret or fear or guilt, shame. Sometimes it's this thing of performance anxiety or just feeling stuck in your life that you've not achieved what you should have achieved. Whatever it is, by hook or by crook, most people that come here and end up looking at my website are often in some kind of pain or misery. And they're often fed up to the back teeth of feeling like that. That's it. It may be one area of your life, it may be all kinds of areas. But this thing of, when it's just in one area or a couple of areas, it can be a very frustrating thing because you've got this battle going on in your head of, come on, you can do this, you should be able to do this, what's the matter with you? Well, I can't do it, blah, blah. So it can be a deeply frustrating experience. It's like having a constant argument with yourself. So sometimes people just want that argument to become a conversation, to get a little bit of peace and calm in their head so they can just make the right decisions for themselves and their families. Rather than having two squabbling kids fighting in your head. Now if this sounds like you, you're in the right place. But what I feel now is a life lesson, right, for which there's no charge, absolutely no charge. It'll only take 1 minute to explain and it might just change your life forever. This book here, Man's Search for Meaning, written by Viktor Frankl. Frankl was an Austrian psychiatrist who also spent many years in Auschwitz. Right, so you could say that his psychological background was put to the test in the most testing of circumstances. Now, unfortunately, lots of people use Frankl's experience. Frankl's thing was that if you could find a meaning, you can find a meaning in anything. And if you can find a meaning, you can find the will to live and the will to survive. But many people use Frankl's teachings as this thing of like, oh look, if he can go into Auschwitz and manage to do this, and you've only got this silly little problem. That's actually the opposite of what Frankl said. Right? What Frankl said, clearly, is misery is misery is misery. And it doesn't matter whether your misery is caused by being half starved to death and dodging the gas chambers every day, or it's because of some teenage angst, or because you can't speak in public, because you get angry or jealous. Misery is misery. Your misery, whatever it is just as real, just as legitimate as any kind of misery. There's often a problem that people I see have is that they feel somehow inadequate because they've got this area of their life they just can't perform the way they naturally would in. But you don't have to take my word for this, take Viktor Frankl's. If you're feeling miserable about anything, then your misery is just as legitimate as anybody else's. So you don't need to feel embarrassed, ashamed or guilty about having it. Just address it. And as I say, don't take my word for it, take Viktor Frankl's. And the next time some helpful friend tells you to pull your socks up or get your act together, you'll know what to tell them. Now then, yes, I'm good at my job. In fact, I'm very good at my job. Now, I trained with the very best. I trained with the Questic Institute in London under Trevor Sylvester. I've also got lots of hard miles on my personal clock. I spent 25 years working on building sites, so I've got lots of life experience. But that's not why I'm good at my job. The reason I'm good at my job is I know what my job is. I'm not here to judge you. Right? I'm here to help you, to help yourself, to find solutions for yourself. It's never about what you're taking, but what you're feeding. And by that I mean, for example, it's simply if you're drinking too much or smoking too much wacky-backy, well, I'm not interested in what you're taking. I'm interested in what you're doing. If you're spending all night on the internet watching porn, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in what you're feeding. If you're eating too much chocolate, I'm not interested in the chocolate. I'm interested in what is it you're feeding that keeps driving you back to chocolate and to comfort eating. That's the thing I'm looking for. I also know my job's not to be your friend. And that doesn't mean that I'll be nasty to you, and it certainly doesn't mean I'll be doing any finger wagging. Right? My job is never to tell you what to do, because if you were only good at doing what you were told, you wouldn't be looking for help in the first place, because that voice that keeps nagging in your head, you would have been able to listen to. So it's not to tell you stuff, it's to guide you, to help you make your own choices. Now, what I provide is an atmosphere of mutual respect, confidence and trust. Anything that comes into this room stays in this room. It's never repeated anywhere else outside. I always treat the person that I'm dealing with and their issue, whatever it is and however trivial the outside world might perceive it or however traumatic it might be, I always treat them with the utmost of respect. So I'll offer sympathy, empathy and understanding. But also, sometimes my job is to point out to people the wall of rationalisation, the wall of lies they've built to justify staying where they are. So sometimes my job is actually to deliver, a caring, compassionate kick up the arse. Right? I also know that it's not my evidence of change that matters, it's yours. I can't tell you now how I would help you with any specific problem because I haven't spoken to you yet. Cognitive hypnotherapy is about a tailored solution. So first, in order for us to discuss your solution, we need to find out what the problem is, what the issue is, what's driving it, your evidence, your words, because they're the ones that are important. It's all about you. So I don't have any special powers or a magic wand. I have an extensive toolkit of techniques and strategies. I've plenty of experience and plenty of life experience. But ultimately, this whole process is about you and finding a solution that's tailor-made to fit you, that works for you. So basically, my job, as I said, I know what my job is. I'm a glorified tour guide. You're still the person that's driving the bus. My job is to help you pick out a route that suits you better, but you'll still be doing the work. So, look, if you're searching for an easy solution, for a magic wand solution, then you're probably in the wrong place. But don't despair, because there are plenty of people out there on the internet who will offer you promise you all kinds of stuff. Whether they deliver or not is another thing, but if you want to carry on up for them, that's up to you. Okay? But the thing is, it doesn't matter sometimes how big a problem seems to be. When you're in the middle of a problem, it's sometimes like being a fly on a TV screen. You're too close to the event to get any perspective. My job is to help you shift and get that perspective so you can see what's going on. As I say, I know what my job is. So sometimes when you make that shift, often, you might be pleasantly surprised just how simple, quick and natural it feels to make big changes just by making a tiny little shift. Now, the other thing, often people are looking for a quantum leap. Often, but most times you don't need one. What you need is a tiny shift. And then we watch that shift as it ripples out. It's like dropping a pebble into a pond. Just watching that ripple out grow and grow and grow till it affects every area of your life. Now often, when people are looking at things, these things come in cycles, often in waves. So often when people are feeling particularly down or miserable about whatever it is that's ailing them, they'll come to the edge, they'll look for a solution again, they'll get to the edge and they'll stop. And why is that? Well, believe it or not, it's because we actually become accustomed to the discomfort that we're in. And sometimes it seems preferable to stay in this, even though as miserable as we are here, we can convince ourselves it's safer to stay in here than it is to try and venture out of there. The problem with that, with staying in your comfort zone, is that your comfort zone over time contracts. And unless you're stretching it and stretching your life experience and your expectations, contracts and it contracts. What happens is that often the walls we build when we're young to protect ourselves, the barriers we put up, they actually become our jail in adulthood. So, if you're here, you've come to the edge again. Only you know if now is the time for you to step forward and take action. Only you know if now there is enough. Because that's the other thing about this thing of it coming in waves, isn't it? That there is a time for action. If you're looking, the fact that you're looking at this site probably means that you're in that part of the cycle now. There is a time for action, and you know that if you don't take the action at the right time, then it will go away again. But that's okay, because you know there'll be another wave of misery and discomfort coming up behind it. Just seems to be the way it is. So only you know whether it's time for you to go. And also, only you know, after watching this little video and having a good look around this website, only you will know if you think I'm the person to help you help yourself. As I say, I don't have a magic wand. I have extensive training and experience, and I'm good at what I do. But the person doing the work will be you. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm lazy. What it means is I want to equip you. When you come in here and you sit in that chair over there, I want you to leave equipped with strategies, tools, and a way of thinking that means you're in charge of this. You've made the changes and you're in charge of them going forward. That's empowering. So look, whatever you decide, I wish you well on your journey, and thank you for listening.